Black Panther comes to us from director Ryan Coogler, director of Creed, which is one of my favorite movies ever, and Fruitvale Station, which I actually think is a pretty good movie. I don't love Fruitvale Station, but it is good. It is a good movie, and it has a strong moral behind it, and it gets a good and really tragic story. But I was really excited to see what Coogler can do with Black Panther. But Black Panther is the 18th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and in this movie, T'Challa, aka Black Panther, is returning to his home in Wakanda after his father's death in Civil War, and he's taking his rightful place on the throne, in which he is later challenged by the villain of the movie, Killmonger, and he has to deal with that along with very specific duties of being king, and there's a whole plot with vibranium, and it's a lot to juggle, but I think it does it pretty well. But that's the plot of our movie. Okay, so I saw this Thursday night, last night, but I wanted to sleep on it. I wanted to make sure my thoughts were intact, and I feel very strong in my opinion on this movie. Okay, so Black Panther's been hyped up to be like one of the best Marvel movies ever, one of the best superhero movies ever made. It's not even close. I'm sorry, it's not. In my opinion. I like it. I think it's very good. I think it's a very good movie with a lot of problems. So, take that what you will. Let me explain. But first, we'll get to the good things. Ryan Coogler's direction here is very impressive. I was very impressed with what he did with this movie. It's a visually very appealing movie. A lot of the effects don't really work very well. A lot of the green screen isn't very good. But the visual look Ryan Coogler gives this movie, along with his cinematographer, is very good, and it creates its own unique style, which is something I can't say about this movie. Black Panther is a very unique and fresh movie in the MCU. It is definitely different than anything we've seen in the MCU. The plot itself is pretty basic and takes from a lot of other movies, like The Lion King in particular, and that did bug me, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But no, Coogler does handle this movie with a very impressive eye. I appreciate what he did here. I think Chadwick Boseman's pretty good. I do think Black Panther as a character, like T'Challa, isn't a very charismatic character, and that can sometimes cause him to be a little dull, and that's one of my other problems with the movie. But for the most part, I think Chadwick Boseman does a really good job here. Michael B. Jordan is fantastic. Michael B. Jordan's the best part of this movie. He is an amazing villain. I loved Michael B. Jordan in this movie. I've always liked Michael B. Jordan, but here he gives one of his best performances. I think Creed is probably still a better performance, but I loved him in this movie as Killmonger. He's a great villain because you can understand where he's coming from. You don't necessarily agree with the way he's approaching his mentality, but you understand where he's coming from, and he has good reasons behind his ethics, and I think that makes for the best villains. He's one of the best villains in the MCU yet. Probably might even be the best one. I love Loki too, but I think he has more. I think Killmonger has a more fully realized story behind him, backstory and motivation than Loki did, I think. Even though I do really like Loki, I love Loki. It's just I think I might like Killmonger more. He's probably my favorite villain in the MCU so far. But yeah, I also think the action set pieces are very impressive here. I said it's a very good looking movie. It's a very well edited movie. It's well shot. The score is really great. The soundtrack is fantastic. All of that's really great. I love the way it represents African culture, and Wakanda is actually a very interesting place. I really liked learning the mythos of Wakanda. The whole vibranium subplot I thought was pretty interesting. Yeah, all that is really great. And then we get to our problems here. Okay, so a lot of the characters I found to be a bit dull. T'Challa in particular. I like T'Challa. I think he's a good hero. I think he's a very loyal king. I like the character overall. But he's a tad dull. He doesn't have a lot of charisma, I don't think. He has a couple good moments, of humor. And speaking of which, the humor is pretty good. But some of the humor does fall flat, but that's just a small nitpick. But I think some of the other characters, Like the side characters weren't that interesting. I mean, I don't mean like the women characters. They're actually really good. I really liked all the women. But a lot of the side characters, like Forrest Whitaker, wasn't very interesting. There wasn't much impact with his character. Yeah, and the whole story itself is the most original thing ever. But Killmonger, while I love Killmonger as a villain, his story, not necessarily a story, where he goes with his, I'm keeping this vague, where he goes with his motivations eventually to T'Challa is very predictable. All that's very predictable. The climax is really great. The climax is the best part of the movie, I think. For the most part. The final battle isn't very good. At least, the final confrontation between, Black Panther and Killmonger wasn't the best. I loved how that ended, but the fight itself wasn't that interesting. It was very Spider-Man 3-ish, and that was another problem I had with the movie. But yeah, some of the side characters are a little dull, I think. Martin Freeman is just kind of there. He didn't really need to have a huge part in this, I don't think. He's fine while he's there, but like, I don't know, I didn't really see the point of keeping him around. And I think this movie's been very overhyped. I think this is an incredibly overhyped movie. To the point where it's like, if you say anything bad about it, like, you're gonna be crucified. So I know, bring on the hate. I'm fine with it, I don't care. I didn't love Black Panther. I liked Black Panther. I liked it a lot. I think it is a very good movie. But it wouldn't even crack my top 10 of the MCU, I don't think. It'd be like my number 12 or 13 out of 18. It's a very good movie, don't get me wrong. It's not great, I don't think, but it is very good. I did like the movie. It just steals from some other movies, and I didn't like how everything was executed necessarily. And some of the CGI isn't very good. Some of the side characters I don't really like. T'Challa is a bit dull. So, yeah, with that being said, I'm going to give Black Panther a B. I think this is a very solid movie. It's just not great. It is what I thought I would get when I first saw the trailer, but was hoping for something better. But I still got a really good movie out of it. I'm not going to complain. It's just I didn't love it as much as everyone else does. But yeah, so that's my review for Black Panther. Yeah, so, 3D versus 2D, I should mention this now. I don't see a lot of movies in 3D, but I was forced to see this in 3D because the 2D was sold out. Don't see this in 3D. Don't see it in 3D. Please don't. It's not really worth it. Like, there's a couple of good shots in 3D, but most of it's pretty pointless. But yeah, so that's my review for Black Panther. I want to see Early Man. I still want to see Peter Rabbit. I saw 1517 to Paris. So I didn't like it. I'm not going to review it. So yeah, that's basically it. But yeah, so that's my review for Black Panther. So, peace.